The sun was sinking low over the dusty plains as Sheriff Colt Murphy stood at the edge of Sagebrush Gulch, his fingers drumming against the worn leather of his holster. A seasoned lawman with a glint of steel in his eyes, he had kept the peace in the small town of Lonesome Valley for more than a decade. But today was different. Today he faced an old nemesis. Out from the shadows of the saloon emerged Silas Black, a notorious outlaw known for his ruthlessness. He had terrorized the town years ago before vanishing like a ghost into the wastelands. Now he was back, and the townsfolk were trembling in fear. "Colt Murphy," Silas drawled, his voice carrying the cold edge of a winter wind. "Time to settle our old score." The town's few residents gathered behind windows and doorways, peering out with a mix of anticipation and dread. The air was thick with tension as the two men faced each other, the distance between them shrinking as they squared off. Colt's hand hovered over his revolver, every muscle in his body coiled and ready. He knew there was no talking his way out of this. The past had finally caught up with them both, and it would be resolved with bullets. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. The only sound was the faint whistle of the wind through the sagebrush. Then in a blur of motion, hands reached for guns, and the sharp crack of gunfire split the silence. Smoke hung in the air, and for a heartbeat, it was unclear who had been hit. Slowly, Silas staggered back, clutching his chest. With a look of disbelief, he crumpled to the ground, his reign of terror brought to a sudden end. Colt exhaled slowly, his heart still pounding. He holstered his gun and tipped his hat to the townsfolk who had gathered outside. Today, justice had prevailed, and Lonesome Valley could breathe easy once more. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Colt turned and walked back into the town he had sworn to protect, knowing that in the Wild West, peace was often as fleeting as a tumbleweed in the wind.